This is Tarron with Twisted Mesquite Performance Horses. We're on a mission to create a world-class 2-year-old program that specializes in the rein cow horse. This week we're doing a review with Cinnamon. We're going to kind of go over the exercises we've been working on this week. Been doing a lot of our steering and loping exercise, and we've been doing some more shoulder control and really getting to where when I pick up on these reins, this horse thinks about giving to me and kind of driving up into her face rather than kind of having to pull on her so much. So we're just going to kind of go over what we've been working on. We had a storm blow in. This week, or just last night, so our arena's got some good moisture to it. Horses are feeling pretty good, feeling kind of frisky. So our serpentines, I've been wanting to get to where she gets off of my feet more and rounds that body and gives that nose a little better. See right here, she's still stiff. She's not giving right there. And so there's still some of that to work out of her, but I pick up on these reins and put my leg on her. I want her to give that nose, wrap around my leg, get soft around my leg. So the same way here. I don't want to pull harder if she doesn't give all the way. I want to use my leg more. Roll my leg up her belly till she gets soft. I want to pick up and her get soft in my hands rather than having to, like, she comes towards my hands and rather than me having to pull her. And so I'm just picking up and she's kind of wandering all over the place. She's certainly getting better. Been working on the refinement of it. She's certainly been getting better. You're right there. She just sticks her nose up in the air and not getting soft right there. So I just went to her belly with my spur. You know, I want her to see the same that side. I want to be able to bring her nose around to either side and her wrap around my leg and go around that circle. Soft in my hands. See right there? There. She thinks she wants to look at these other horses and pay attention to something else other than me. See, like that's a lot better. I didn't roll my spur up or anything. This side, same way. That's better. See, that's better there. But I still need her to come all the way around to keep going around in that circle and get some bend through her body there. So yeah, I noticed that all of this stuff I was having to pull too hard on her. Because if I'm having to pull too hard on her with my hands, then she's going to be braced against my hands. she's not going to be driving forward as much. And you know, that stiffness in that head and neck comes from their body. And when their body's not given to you, when their body isn't soft. There, that was certainly a lot better right there. Need her to keep moving her feet, staying at that trot. There, she's need to pick her up a little bit. She's kind of leaning down into that corner, into that circle. Need her to move forward. There. See, that's a lot better to where I just picked up on those reins. And she started coming back to me. Yeah, if you notice, look back in those videos the last few weeks or so, when I would pick up on a rein, she'd be bobbing that head up and down. Because she's sitting there bracing up against this bit instead of giving to it. And so when I pick up and she doesn't give, I'm gonna squeeze with my legs more, and I'm gonna drive her up into her face. I don't want to pull. See, I'm not pulling, I'm just picking up. And so I want to be able to just drive her up into her face right there. So that next thing we've been working on this week is the counter arc. We just want to pick those shoulders up, and I want this horse to walk around this circle, driving up into this circle a little bit, soft on my hands, and then I want to be able to put my feet on her and take her shoulder out, or stay soft in my hands, driving up into my hands the same way, but moving her shoulder over. See, she's kind of sticking her head up in there. I'm gonna drive her up into that a little bit more, drive her up into that a little bit more, and then take her back into that circle. This is gonna help our flag work, our turnaround, our stops, because I noticed that she was wanting to push into my hands so much that we were kind of losing that forward momentum. She wasn't driving up into herself. She wasn't driving up into herself. So whenever I would ask her to stop, she was all strung out, and so her butt wasn't up underneath her when we were asking her to stop or transition down or turn around or whatever. We were just losing that forward momentum because she was sitting there thinking about pulling on me. Right there, I want to push her up into that. So we've been working on this as well. This is just vertical flexion. It's a lot better. It's the same way with the walk. I want to just put my leg on her and have her bring that shoulder around, and I want her to stay in my hands and not push up on my hands. So we're gonna do it the same way on this side. I want to drive her up into her face a little bit. You know, I just want her, when I pick up on my reins, she's not sitting there pushing on them. She's not sitting there pushing down on them. She's just thinking about getting soft to them, not raising that head up in the air. Just thinking about giving. Same way, I want to just push the shoulder over, keep that forward momentum. And take her back into the circle. Seeing that stop's a lot better. And that backup's a lot better because she's not sitting there rooting out against my hands, and she's not sitting there being heavy or resisting my hands at all. She's given to them, and it's still not perfect yet, but that's what we've been working on this week, along with our steering exercise that we've been doing. Because I noticed with her and a couple other of those horses I have, they're kind of getting worried in these corners. And so if they're worried about the edges of this arena, their mind's not with me when I'm needing to work on this other stuff. When I'm needing to work on this other stuff around this arena or loping around this arena. And so I needed them to be pretty confident and calm all around this arena. So we'll just kind of show the exercise. Like she's pushing on her. We'll just kind of show a quick glimpse of it. So I have her on a loose rein when I'm doing this exercise, but I want to, if she tries to leave and cut a corner short, I'm going to take her and pull her into that corner, and then we're going to go off again. This one, she's good. She went deep into that corner. I noticed since we've been working the flag, she's kind of getting excited about this side over here. We got these horses over here, but I want her to continue loping around here. I might take her into this fence. And go again. See, I don't want to have to drag these horses into these corners or always be trying to drag them over here. I want them to be comfortable around this arena, so I can do what we need to do. I can do our training. But if they're all worried about this or that on the outside of the fence, for one, they're not paying attention to what we're doing. But it's just, they got their head up in the air, or they're worried about this or that, and it just takes away from our training. So and some of this stuff too, it just reminds them that we can sit here and lope all day, and it gets them thinking about doing what I'm needing them to do instead of just running off or anything like that. So you know, I want to be able to steer them up into this corner and be able to stay at that lope. So when they're not worried about these corners, you know, they're not going to be so worried about slowing their feet down or thinking they're going to run into it or anything like that. So if we say we're working the flag over here or something like that, I can continue to work them without them being overly worried about that situation. And so basically, I want to be able to lope her around all four corners of this arena, and I want to be able to go hit all of these corners here and steer to this other corner. And so I'm going to do that, all four corners go in the same direction, and then I'm going to do it the same, go in the other direction. And so she's going to, you know, these horses get an opportunity to see that all sides of this arena through both eyes. But that's, you know, we won't do both sides of it right now, just for the sake of the keeping the video a little shorter. But it's really good for these horses that maybe wanting to run off and wanting to get too fast at the lope. You can just put them on this pattern and work this pattern until those horses decide that they just rather just kind of slow down and start managing their own feet a little better and not thinking about just running off. They kind of rate back, they get more collected about themselves, and you can use it to your advantage as well. So if she's a little concerned about this corner over here, I can work her, lope around this arena, and I can rest her over here in this corner. The same with this corner or that corner or whatever, and you can kind of take that away from them, that desire to be one place or the other, or trying to run from one place to the other. You can just kind of use it to your advantage and make your arena to where they're comfortable and content at any place in this arena. So another thing I've been, you know, like we did when I was doing our counter arc, I'm going to take her back onto this pattern we were doing, and I want her to drive up into her face. I want to, you know, work on this vertical flexion. I want to drive her up into it. When she gives to me and stays there for a second, I'm going to give back to her. I'll pick up. You know, so when I pick up on these reins, I want the first thing she thinks about is rating back to me or giving to those reins. You know, I don't want her thinking about throwing her head up in the air or bracing up against me or anything like that. And so if we get to round some of these corners, you know, that's another thing I've noticed. If I get them comfortable with these corners, then I can go and do this stuff, these other exercises, and I can use these corners as well, and they're not so concerned about it. So they're not so eager to fight against my hands or to pay attention what's going on outside of the arena or what are the other horses doing or anything like that. They're pretty confident that this arena is okay for them, and so they're more apt to pay attention to the job we have for them. And so I pick up, like I said, and I want to just use my feet on her. I want to just use my feet and drive her up into her face to where my hands are light, my pressure on my hands is light, and I pick up and I squeeze with my feet, squeeze it forward. and she holds for a little while, I let her back go. I let her go again. And so I'll do this both directions. Take her out here in this circle, and we'll go back the other direction. But I can do this at a walk, a trot, a lope, all around this corner, all around this arena. And so now that I've got these corners where they're not so worried about these corners, I can do this a lot better. We're going to have a lot better results. And it's, it's good to know exercises like this. So you take this horse somewhere else, maybe you're going to go ride another arena or something like that, and you can do these same exercises in that arena to get that horse comfortable with it. Maybe you got a couple days in that arena, and you can go and do these exercises to get that horse comfortable with that arena. The thing with the quality foundation is that horse understands what you've taught him. It doesn't take long at all in order to refine or remind that horse. So if you can use these exercises that these horses learn, you can use them to maintain that horse. And so it's like the law of atrophy. If you don't continue to work, if you don't continue to use that muscle or use your body, you're just going to atrophy away, right? So with these horses, the same thing. If they don't get worked, or if you don't continue to use them and grow them and maintain them, they're going to go the opposite direction. They're not going to stay the same as they were when you put them in training, or when they were getting worked 5-6 days a week, or when they got started, or whatever. And so being able to maintain these horses, or better yet, be able to continue their training, you're going to have the best success, and this horse is going to be able to be the best they can be, because you've continued to put attention and intention into that horse. There's a lot of horses that just go and get turned out, and people don't do much with them. Well, those horses aren't going to be the best that they can be, because they're not, there's no intention going into those horses. There's no action being taken towards improving those horses and making them better. And so it's important to, like I said, the foundation of these horses, at the very least, when these horses understand what you're doing with them, and they understand what you've taught them, you can go and do those exercises with them and remind them and get them back to that spot mentally that they were in. We're going to do the same thing at a lope a little bit. See, even her throwing her head up in that, asking her to lope, her butt's not up underneath her. And she's picking that front end up to go somewhere. And so all this stuff is going to get better. We teach her, remind her and teach her to drive up into where she's going. It's going to help her stop. It's going to help her loping around. It's going to help all these things. So when I pick up, I'm going to squeeze with my feet, just like that, and I'll give it back to her. And I'm going to squeeze with my feet. I'm going to squeeze with my feet. Not picking up harder, I'm just squeezing with my feet. There. Here in a little while, next couple weeks or so, we're going to start driving up into a stop. And so making sure that this is good, or she's driving up into her her face a little bit when we at the walk, trot, and canter, then I'm going to be able to, she's going to understand that driving up into a stop a lot more. Need her to drive up there. There. See, and even that downward transition was a lot better because she was in frame. She was using her body. She was up underneath herself, rather than kind of have her back hollowed out and her head sticking up in the air. It's going to help our turnaround. Just being able to pick up on these reins, her not thinking about doing the same thing. So anyway, these things we've been working on with her for this week is going to help everything else we're doing, where I can drive her up into these turns the same way, and I can turn her around, drive her up into her face where she understands that concept. So with her, I'm proud of how she's advancing, what we've worked on this week. We're getting pretty comfortable around all sides of this arena. The way her mind's getting back with me, and she's paying a lot more attention. I like that we're able to pick up on these reins, and she's given to us a lot more, and so we're just pleased with her advancement this week. So that'll be her review for this week. We'll catch up with you on the next one.